Roll call, Integrating Nurse Practitioners for the Future of Saskatchewan, a CNUR 301 presentation by Brianne Miller, Chloe Zeidler, Kelsey Lagarde, and Kyle Huber. During the plan development stage of this project, two key engagement frameworks were outlined to support transformational leadership and practice: a two-way communication structure to keep information moving transparently across all levels and continue project development, and a joint planning committee to bring the leader stakeholders into one shared decision-making space. The joint planning committee will introduce the vision for NP integration, and interprofessional collaboration will turn that vision into a reality, marking the shift into visionary leadership. Liu and colleagues define visionary leadership as vision-centered behavior in which the leader depicts a vivid, positive future and shares that vision with followers to motivate them towards change. A study conducted by Liu and colleagues analyzed 234 leader-follower pairs and concluded that not only do leaders need to share their vision, they need to inspire taking charge behavior, where followers find the leader within themselves and internalize the project's goals, resources, and mission as part of their own professional identity, allowing them to feel more capable to drive change. Liu and colleagues also emphasized that close, meaningful relationships are the foundation for taking charge behavior. Aligning one's personal identity with a broad system goal is deeply personal work, and followers are more likely to do so when they trust the leader and feel valued and supported. In practice, the stages of visionary leadership will be 1. Sharing a clear and inspirational vision of the project plan and goal. 2. Building trust and engagement through meaningful relationships. 3. Empowering stakeholders to take charge by finding the leader within themselves. And 4. Cultivating the drive of leaders to interprofessionally collaborate and innovate to implement the changes required to achieve the project goal. Visionary leadership is ultimately measured by how effectively it develops leadership capacity in others. According to Mayer and colleagues, there are 3 main factors of trustworthiness within an organization: ability, benevolence, and integrity. To demonstrate these 3 factors, we will hold an interactive forum within the Joint Planning Committee to outline all components of the leadership project. We want to preface to our stakeholders that all aspects of our project are a working draft, and we need their input to create a vision co-designed with everyone's interests. After each section of the leadership project, we will open the floor for discussion and ask our stakeholders whether they agree or disagree with our SWOT analysis, project goals, objectives, sub-objectives, evaluation plan and required resources, risk management plan, and timeline. If they disagree, we'll figure out why, and if they have any alternative ideas. A moderator will be present to lead engagement and collaboration and to ensure equitable participation amongst the stakeholders. Before we finalize the plan, we will survey each stakeholder group to assess their level of confidence in each project aspect and the extent to which they feel their interests have been represented. This forum will accomplish 2 key things. 1. Making sure our analysis and plan accurately represent reality and address the issues. And 2. Establishing a trusting, meaningful relationship with stakeholders through demonstrating our ability, benevolence, and integrity. Ability is the skills and competencies that make someone capable and effective in a specific area. The depth and quality of our analysis and plan show the stakeholders that we possess ability. Benevolence is the degree to which someone genuinely wants to help beyond their own self-interest. And integrity is consistently following principles and values that the stakeholders perceive as acceptable. Our openness to stakeholder contribution and our willingness to revise the plan based on their feedback demonstrate benevolence by prioritizing their needs and perspectives, and integrity by aligning the plan with their principles and values. Furthermore, the forum format is highly interactive and collaborative, which is a prime opportunity for everyone to build meaningful relationships. The forum portion of the Joint Planning Committee achieves visionary leadership stages 1 and 2 by clearly presenting the vision and then co-designing the project plan with stakeholders. It initiates stage 3, by making stakeholders co-owners of the project. Engagement will not end when the meeting adjourns. In fact, it will become more focused and specific. Ongoing 2-way communication structures such as focus groups and public forums will be used to address emerging challenges and provide the coaching and tools needed to empower the stakeholders to find the leaders within themselves. Project management is people management. We need to understand our stakeholders on a personal level to achieve our project goal. Mayer and colleagues define emotional intelligence as an ability composed of 4 skill sets. 1. Perceiving emotions accurately. 2. Understanding emotions and emotional signals. 3. Using emotions to facilitate thinking. And 4. Managing emotions to maintain specific goals. Within our 2-way communication structures, small focus groups will be the primary setting where we will apply emotional intelligence first to understand and then empower stakeholders. In these sessions, we will follow the skill set outlined by Mayer and colleagues. To accurately perceive and understand emotions, we will ask stakeholders what they value, what pressures they face, and what concerns they have. We will then use those concerns and values as input for joint problem solving, using emotions to facilitate thinking about solutions. Finally, we will back their solutions with concrete adjustments, resources, or coaching, managing emotions in a way that maintains the project goal. The focus group component of the two-way communication structure solidifies visionary leadership stage 2 by strengthening trust and meaningful relationships, and it activates stage 3 by creating psychologically safe conditions where stakeholders can self-actualize.
As demonstrated by Maslow's hierarchy of needs, a person needs to feel psychologically safe before they can self actualize. Psychological safety is where innovation and leadership come from, so meeting the stakeholders' need for inclusion, learner, contributor, and challenger safety is the key to their empowerment. In this stage, visionary leadership isn't measured by how well the leader directs, but by how effectively the leader can cultivate leadership in those around them. The prioritization of early and ongoing meetings with stakeholders enforces that every voice matters. These meetings aim to clarify roles and tasks for each objective. By ensuring that each member understands how their role ties into the larger vision, stakeholders feel valued and secure. This approach to inclusion helps staff to feel invited rather than obligated to participate. Equipping stakeholders with the tools they need to succeed helps promote learner safety. Each member should feel comfortable to ask questions, access training, and build new skills without the fear of judgment. Stage 3 of the Visionary Leadership Framework includes needs assessments to find gaps in knowledge and resources. Accessible tools like clinical guidelines, education sessions, or quick reference resources empower staff by reducing their uncertainty and enforcing their confidence and practice to learn. This creates a culture where curiosity is a strength. To encourage ownership and autonomy, member strengths, motivations, and experiences should be aligned with specific goals and elements of the project. Responsibility for tasks would also be decentralized, providing groups their own ownership over particular components. Celebrating small wins, presenting team successes, and elevating member ideas reinforces that their contributions are meaningfully contributing to the project's success. Empowerment is providing room for innovation, challenging ideas, and proposing alternatives. Stage 4 of the Visionary Leadership Framework collectively provides supportive and constructive feedback. By integrating reflections into meetings, questioning and critiquing is encouraged rather than discouraged. Innovation and challenges are opportunities for growth, encouraging all to move beyond established routines by seeking out better alternatives. Throughout all stages of the project, leadership centers on uplifting and encouraging others rather than directing. Recognizing their psychological safety as a stepping stone to leadership empowers all members to take ownership of the project and help it succeed. Good leadership helps everyone around them become leaders in their own right.
Promoting innovation and change. The ADKAR model is a framework that helps people adopt new technologies or processes required for successful innovation and change. ADKAR is an acronym that represents the 5 elements of successful change: awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. Awareness begins the process. Stakeholders must understand not only why the change is needed, but also their significance to the goal. That means not only engaging stakeholders by sharing the data of care inequities and personal stories of those struggling, but also following up with what they can do to help. The next element is desire. We have laid the foundation for relationship building and empowerment, and now we can use our knowledge to connect specific stakeholder values and motivations for change to the overall goal. Knowledge and ability work together to equip stakeholders to take continuous action. Continued two-way communication structures such as focus groups and public forums, both digital and in person, will be essential to the continuity of visionary leadership by assessing gaps in stakeholders' knowledge and capabilities while implementing support and education through training and access to resources. Reinforcement ensures the change is sustained. Over time, the power dynamics will shift to allow stakeholders to operate more independently, moving the visionary leadership team from an active training role to a more observational role that provides feedback and intervenes only when necessary. Every time the stakeholders get closer to the goal, we'll reinforce their actions by granting them more independence. Barriers to change are addressed throughout the ADKAR process. If there is a will, there's a way. Inherent challenges such as funding concerns, workforce shortages, and change hesitancy are mitigated by creating the will to overcome them through collective awareness of what can be done and building a genuine desire to get it done. We can then help stakeholders find ways to address inherent challenges by first learning what they are struggling with and then equipping them with the knowledge and skills through training, education, and resources to overcome barriers. Reinforcing progress by gradually allowing stakeholders greater independence will mark the transition to the sustaining phase. Eventually, once the change process has been solidified and stakeholders are consistently and independently meeting expectations, we will encourage them to innovate. Forums and initiatives will be launched to generate new and better solutions, and we will co design and support staff led initiatives that align with the overall strategic direction. The ADKAR process initiates stage 4 of visionary leadership by creating the conditions in which stakeholders are motivated and equipped to collaborate interprofessionally to overcome barriers and initiate innovations that drive the project towards the original goal and beyond.
In order to sustain long-term change, we must make sure it is included in everyday activities of the primary healthcare environments we're trying to change. To be sustainable, a change must be continuously monitored and adjusted based on feedback. A sustainable change is one that runs itself, that is, it continues to be used even in the face of turnover or a shift in priorities of staff. Sustaining is primarily part of stage 4 of visionary leadership. To support integration of NPs, regular check-ins will be scheduled yearly to evaluate progress, identify barriers, and make changes to the plan. Check-ins on effectiveness and barriers support ongoing accessibility to the program, provides an opportunity for staff and leadership to collaborate to fine-tune the process. In addition, ADCAR reviews will be conducted alongside the regular check-ins to ensure staff continue to feel invested in the change and committed to supporting it. One of the most important ways a visionary leader can support sustainable engagement with change is to communicate. The results of analysis will be shared with staff to show the staff the impact of their hard work. This helps to foster a sense of shared ownership, which according to Bloom is essential for sustainable change. Each employee should have a sense of their own responsibility in the change process, and they should have a good sense of how that responsibility contributes. In order to have a good sense of those responsibilities, a visionary leader must communicate them effectively. They must also be included into everyday policy, documentation, and orientation material. The change must become the norm for future and current healthcare team members. Employee engagement is essential in broad organizational change. A transformational leader can build engagement by celebrating success, sharing progress, and highlighting positive outcomes. When staff can see the positive outcomes that result from their work, the value of the change is reinforced, creating a positive feedback loop. In summary, a change can be made sustainable by embedding it into everyday operations, practicing good and clear communication, and sharing ownership of the change to make sure staff understand the impact of their hard work.
The practices of sustaining change connect to Stage 4 visionary leadership by ensuring the structures, communication systems, and shared ownership will endure, so that the vision, trust, relationships, empowerment, and drive remain strong far beyond achievement of the project goal. With the foundation of visionary leadership firmly in place, the leaders required to achieve the project goal can operate independently, and the project will not only run itself, but go far beyond that. This is ultimately about more than just achieving a single goal. It's about creating the relationships and leaders that will achieve the goals of the future and make Saskatchewan a better place for the next generation.